I'm going to just take a minute to introduce Jackie first, and then we'll dive into some deeper questions. So Jackie Roby, she's a client in the Living Abundance Mastermind. She is a founder and CEO of Inspired Journey Consulting. She hosts the podcast Through Inspired Eyes, founded the Travel Can Heal Initiative, is a co-author of the best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Creating Your Soul-Aligned Business. She was chosen as one of the top 30 inspiring women to look out for in 2022 by Entrepreneurs Herald, and is a sought-out international speaker. Jackie is a founding member of the Global Wellness Institute's Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Initiative, and co-created the Transformational Travel Council's Unpacking Us, a program that works on healing the self for human solidarity. Inspired Journey Consulting's vision is to enhance cultural wellness in the workplace, grow emotional intelligence, healing, and self-love for a kinder, more inclusive world. Well, that's pretty stunning. Thank you, darling. Welcome, welcome. So let's cast back to where you were. I want to hear a little bit about your journey. Where were you at before we met, before you joined us in the Living Abundance Mastermind? What was going on for you at that time?
Well, I opened my business in October 2019. I've spent my career in the travel industry. And when I was introduced to wellness travel, I thought, this is where I want to live. Well, we all remember what happened in 2020, and things really turned upside down. So the path that I was on shifted pretty dramatically. And I looked at it as a gift to build my brand and really reconnect with my intuition, which was guiding me into different directions. So as we got into the summer and fall of 2022, I was continuing this growth into human design, realizing my care of the people behind the scenes in the business, not necessarily the revenue of the hotels and resorts, which is where I spent my career, was in sales. And fine-tuning that aspect. However, money was inconsistent. There was a lot of tension in my home. And it was really destructive on my self-worth.
Thank you for sharing honestly and openly about that. And so when you were in the Wealth Retreat and you were exploring or thinking about coming into the Living Abundance Mastermind and diving into this work more deeply, what was going through your mind at that point, at that kind of choice point?
How in the world am I going to afford this?
Right. Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I need this, and I need something, and I can't do this alone anymore. And on and on and on.
What helped you with that choice point then? Can you remember? I think this is a big thing, right? This moment where we're like, in a choice point.
It was our breakthrough call, actually. It was really powerful, really, really powerful. And I remember you were talking about getting into my wealthy wisdom and how to reach that and how to connect, and I couldn't do it. And it was a little disheartening. And you gave me some guidance and talked me through, and I ended up coming up with some ideas on what to do based on that, based on our conversation. So you said, get off the phone, do these things that will help you, then make your next move. And let's see, I gave myself a little dance party. That was one of the things. Then I journaled, but I was staring at this blank sheet. And I ended up closing my eyes, and I was doing this on my laptop, and I just typed to figure out what my next step was going to be. Because there was a client who I had been pursuing, and we had been in conversation about a specific piece of a specific project since June. And this was now October. And after my dance party, after closing my eyes and typing, I had actually typed out a plan of action on how to reconnect with this client, and then also how to take care of me. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote myself a card and put it in the mail. And in the meantime, I drafted this powerful email to a client and also wrote her a card to put in the mail while I had them out. And she responded that day saying, "Oh, I'm so glad to hear from you. We're finally ready to get started."
I remember that. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's when you said yes to coming on in.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Wow. Amazing. Yeah, that's just before you joined us. So tell us a little bit, whatever you feel on your heart to share about what has been happening for you inside of this body of work, inside of money manifestation mastery, working with your wealthy leader, wealthy wisdom inside. Tell us what are some of the shifts and changes, results, either internal, external, that have been happening for you within this body of work?
It's honestly been so massive. I would say one of the first things that I'm still working on, there's something I'm processing this week, because everything is always continuing to change and grow and uncover, but is giving myself what I need instead of looking outside of me. And I thought it surprised me to feel that way in the first place, because I have been on my healing journey for 15 plus years, very intently, really started about 21 years ago. I spend a lot of time tuning in. And so seeing that there were still areas of my life where I wasn't giving myself what I needed, but instead expecting somebody else to give it to me, surprised me. And that actually, for me, came up in parenting. It has allowed me to really reconnect with my inner child, with my younger self. And that's a very big deal. I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. And so little Jackie is terrified. And as an adult, I've kept her away for a long time because it was really scary to spend any time with her at all. Because that's a lot to face. Despite all the healing around it, still the little one needed me. And I have finally found ways to reconnect and soothe and understand me. Looking at the money stories from my family and how deeply imprinted they are, and shaking that at different points. Sitting with the pain, and then working to transform it. And there's something that's really, again, simple, but incredibly powerful, is actually how we breathe here. And breathing into the pelvic floor has been so important for me. And that's made a very big impact. And with this process, with the mastermind, with all of the guidance, the support, activations, the lessons, I noticed that I can respond to life instead of reacting. There was a specific example with my 15-year-old daughter, and she said some things that hurt me so immensely and were really triggering, and I was not getting the support I expected and hoped for from my husband. And I spent 3 weeks working on this, feeling it, determining what I needed, until I then went back and parented on it in a way that wasn't from my trauma.
Okay. That's huge, right? That is so huge.
That's been massive.
Mm. Mm. Such brave, deep diving work. Such great, and like you said, you've done so much work on yourself, and it's like, okay. And there's something interesting around when we're working with money, or working with business, or working with visibility, or owning the throne, or like, you know, putting yourself out there. Like, it hits. Right? Sometimes these money blocks, they show up in all sorts of ways, and it's, you said you don't know till you know, right? And you're like, oh my God, here's this thing again. So all that deep diving, that brave work, what are some of, because again, it's not like we're doing it for an outcome, but like when you have the courage to go in and hold little Jackie and do this work and face yourself, what are some of the external shifts that you've noticed? Like, what are some of the, I like to call them the wins we get to celebrate from being brave deep divers and facing ourselves and taking that action? What have you noticed in your life?
Well, my wealthy wisdom that I connect with as Glamorous Jackie is brilliant. And I have actually been able to expand my business. I noticed the shift coming, being in this, in the mastermind, and sat with it. I did focus groups. I got all of my business guidance, honestly, has come from those activations, from connecting with Glamorous Jackie and getting all of that wisdom, and then moving forward. And each action that I take is bringing results. So, you know, one of which was a program that I started. I did focus groups around it. When I rolled it out, I received, 4 new opportunities that came. So that alignment has made a really big difference. I'm also noticing an ease in how I run my business, and then the attraction factor, I would say, of business and opportunities that come my way.
Mm. Yes, and there's been lots of very cool things you've been creating, and new offers, and there's lots of gold on the outside, and we celebrate these wins hugely, and it's really powerful. And I'm so grateful for your honesty, because what we don't see, right? If we just see Glamorous Jackie rocking it on stage and like doing her thing and writing her books, and you'd be like, wow, she's just got it all sorted and figured out. And, and actually what I love about leaders being really authentic is we understand there's a whole inner working that's going on behind the scenes, right? That's holding it underground, right? You have to hold so much of yourself to be able to rise and to continue to rise, right? So it's sustainable. So, and this is the roots for me, it's the roots into the ground that grow the tree, right? And the roots into the darkness that grow us. And really, yeah, honoring everything that is happening, and then honoring also the very deep diving work you're doing and continue to do, because it's an ongoing process. Is there anything else on your heart that you'd like to share about this work, about this process, about the space? Is there anything else that you feel would be useful to mention or share?
One of the things that's been so valuable is feeling safe and supported, because money is a vulnerable topic. You know, think about how long we weren't supposed to ask people how much they made.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to be in a space where you can vision and dream and desire, because when you're in your day-to-day life, people aren't doing that. Nobody's really looking ahead in a way that is exciting and expanding possibilities. And I really value and appreciate that. I know that if I go into the mastermind, I will be heard, I will be held. People will understand and not judge me. And there's just so much value and power in that expression, whether it's verbally, written, or really hearing from others. You feel less alone. And like you've got a team supporting you. When, as a business owner or really any walk of life, you can feel really lonely sometimes. So I really appreciate that. And the work has allowed me the courage. I talked about my expansion to actually say, I don't even want to be in the travel industry anymore. I'll keep this part of my business for now, but here's where I'm really going. This is going to be bigger. This dream is bigger than what I thought possible and what I was keeping it in before. And it's because of this space that I have allowed myself to be bigger.
Well, I'm so glad you are, because it's amazing. And it's, yeah, we just have to keep holding ourselves as we rise into that great unknown and listen to that power, this voice. It's like, oh my God, we're here to do what? We're going to do what now? So amazing. It's been so beautiful to witness you. And I know we're still on the journey. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to come in and share your heart with us. I really appreciate everything you're doing in your work and the way you're doing it and what you're bringing into your industry. It's absolutely stunning. To me, that is real, heart-led leadership in action. Thank you so much. I really appreciate taking the time, darling.
Thank you, Lara.
All right.
I'm honored to be here.